Ah yeah, what's good people? I go by the name of Wretch 32, and right now you're locked into Muso's Guide. Check.
So I really love your stuff. The Glastonbury performance, which I saw on TV, unfortunately, better than
that's still
on the
good.
mud. Yeah, it was great last week. Really, really great. So how was that for you playing? Was that your first Glastonbury?
That was my first Glastonbury, man, you know, and I think it's been, that day the tent I was in, you know, had Skepta, had Devlin, had Labyrinth, had Gigs, had Professor Green, you know, and that's just everyone that we've been in the same scene and we've all grew together, so it was a very emotional day for everyone, you know, and it was a good look, man.
And it feels like that's kind of happening today at Wireless in a way. It seems like it's the real kind of coming together of what's going on in pop at the minute.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's good because you can be on one stage watching Example, you know, you can cross over and watch Wretch 32, then you can go and see Labyrinth, and I just think just the variety of music is great right now, you know. I think it's in a good place.
So the thing that, for me, that sets you apart from all of those guys is the hardness of your subjects, kind of how hard it is against like the kind of looseness of your flow, I guess.
Okay.
How easy is it for you to vocalise those hard subjects, those that are so personal to you every night on tour? Is that ever exhausting for you?
You know what, it doesn't really get exhausting because it's almost so natural. It's just what I talk about and it's just what I do, you know. And I think when you're honest in music, I think it appeals to a bigger audience because a lot of people can relate to it. So if I say I'm at home, sat down watching EastEnders, there's probably 1.5 million people that can relate to that, you know, where if I make something up, no one can relate to that. It might sound cool, but, you know, I think that just honesty is a good way, man.
And is there any artist that stood out to you when you kind of first got into music that's meant something? So their lyrics have meant something personal to you?
Yeah. You know, artists like Bob Marley, you know, artists like Michael Jackson, you know, Jay-Z, you know, they've come along and spoke the truth, you know, and been really honest, you know, and I think that's why they're so legendary. And I think, you know, I touch on the honesty subject again. I think it's just all about being honest and real with your music.
And your career, do you see America as something you really want to focus on and kind of crack into that market over there?
I think America's a massive market to conquer, you know, and I think when you conquer it, you get worldwide. I think right now, it's in my best interest to do what I'm doing here, and then if it takes off over there, let's go over there. I wouldn't ever try and go over there and forget about here, because it's almost like running your area but not your house. You got to start in your house first, then you go out, you know, then you can always come back.
It's interesting that you say that. I went to an event a few weeks ago called Showtime at Cargo, which is headlined by Wiley. It's loads of kind of UK bass and grime and all of that stuff, but transferred to America, I don't know what that would mean.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting how everything's totally different across the pond.
Yeah, you know, it's where we're at now, you know, and I feel like we've kind of made up our own genres and our own sounds and stuff, you know, just experimenting underground. And it's just, you know, luckily that you know, they've got to surface. So I'm all chuffed, man. It's all good when you see lineups like that where you was at, you know. It's all love.
And the interesting thing for me again is that you sample some really kind of, I guess in your genre, it's really interesting the stuff that you're covering, like the Stone Roses, for example. Anything else lined up that we wouldn't really expect?
I think for me now, I don't want to do another sample. I think for me Tractor was about smashing through the glass ceiling. Unorthodox was showing that, you know, we can make a British sounding rap record, you know, so I thought it was a privilege that Stone Roses allowed us to use the sample, you know. Now my next step for me here on is, I think it's really important that, you know, I make something that gets sampled in 20 years, you know, and I think that's when you really have longevity, you know. That means you've made a classic song. Stone Roses made a classic song. I needed to touch it, you know, so it's just about me focusing on my music now.
So I guess you think that not only music in the moment, but music having that longevity and timelessness is something that's important to you then?
I'd love to be sitting at home 20 years from now and get a phone call saying, you know, the hottest new rapper wants to sample your track that you done in 2011. I'll be like, cool, you know what I mean? It's a good feeling to know that the next generation is going to get to hear you in a new, fresh format, so it's all good, man.
Right, so let's hope that happens. It was really lovely talking to you.
Fingers crossed, so if you're listening.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, cheers.